Welcome to Public Charter School District Title III Program Overview. Today we will go over the required components of the Title III program and important timelines. Also, we will discuss some changes that should make things easier this year for us. As you all know, we are scheduled for the state Title III audit this year. We have made several changes to our Title III program, not the program by itself, but uh, on aspects of how to make things easier for the school and both for the school and the district. We have updated the bookshelf, the Title III section of the bookshelf, where you will see there used to be hundreds of links to different programs, different resources, and information. We try to compile everything into one single document, and the other information we put it as additional information for you. But we made it so clean and clear for you to access information. This webinar will be posted here, will be updated here. Kindly make sure you take an attendance survey and indicate that you have watched the webinar and let us know if you have any questions. I have taken down the Title III policies and procedures for this year. You will see that all those important policies and procedures are embedded into the Title III monitoring checklist, which I'll show you in a minute. The purpose of this is there several things have happened, a lot of things have changed. I have done major updates last year because we moved from one screener to a different screener, one state testing to a different state testing, and we are changing again this year, and I don't know what we will be using for next year. So to save time and for you to have a single copy, I have transferred all the major important policies, procedures, guidance to the Title III monitoring checklist, which I'll explain in detail in few minutes. For last year, as you all know, we have used the VIDA WAPT screener to screen the new students that come to our schools, and where you don't get the records from the previous school and the parent or the child has indicated that there's another language on the home language survey. We'll be using the last screener. We'll be using I'll go in detail about the screener in few minutes, but all the information that you need for the screener is here, and I will be scheduling I'm working with the company to provide a face-to-face of webinar or an online meeting for all the Title III coordinators and going over in detail about the pre-LAS, which is a pencil and paper test for kindergarten to first grade, and LAS online, which is for second grade to 12th grade. I'm working with the company. I'm trying to set up dates and everything, so I will take responsibility of making sure it's done sooner so you can start screening the children. Most of you have used the screener in the past. We have done the webinar 2 years ago. If you are okay with the PowerPoints from the previous presentation are available here. The guidance is there. If you have any questions, you can call me. But for the new schools or the new coordinators, like I said, I'll be working with the companies to provide the training for you very soon. And this is the State Department's Title III monitoring instrument. I think this is the document. I hope there will be no changes. This is the document the state will be using when they come to audit us this year. I have no idea when. I am not sure what school they'll be visiting, as most likely they may ask me to collect information from all schools and review the information at the district office, and I may be wrong, or they may come to one or two schools that like they do with other school districts. So at this point I am unaware of the visit. We will get things started now, and I'll go in detail about the audit once I get information from the State Department. I'll do a Title III audit webinar and go in detail of the requirements and the timelines. I thought of starting the presentation with the guidance and law and all the court cases and why it's so important. Why should we do this? But I just thought let's hold off to the law and the court rulings aside for a minute. But let's go to the program part. Let me go over each and every item of the program piece, and then explain you why it's required, why it's needed, why should we do it. So this is a new document. We have something close, but never this detail. I'm trying to, as you know, most of the federal programs come under my belt, and I'm trying to make sure that all, and some, I know some of you deal with all federal programs at your school, so I'm trying to, all documents look the same. I'm trying to make sure that things are easy for you, that you don't have to deal with one format here and go and deal with a different format there. I'm trying to make sure everything looks the same, so it's less confusing and more productive. Title 3 monitoring visit. The goal of this, and the reason I call it a checklist for Title 1 monitoring visit, is if we do this right, if we follow these timelines and use these guidance, I think we can beat any audit that comes if they do the state audit every year. If we do these things right, which we should do anyway, I think we'll be good with the audits. And it's not only about the audits, it means we are doing right with our children at the school. We are providing them the services, we are being fair to the parents, following the law. So I put everything into one document with the timeline and the resources and a quick notes on what it is. And I'll go over each item to, if you are new to the program, it will be good to you. If you already know this information, it may be a refresher. So kindly bear with me. I'll try to go in detail because it is very essential for every one of us to know where we are and what are the updates that are happening this year. Like I said, it's not just because we are having an audit, it's good for the school, it's good for the district, it's good for the program and the charter school movement, that we do things right and follow the law. Uh, and I hear all the time, why should we do it? There's so much work and we don't get any money, we don't get any funds. It's a law. And as you could clearly see here, the guidance clearly says the Title III funds must be used to supplement other federal, state, and local funds that could not have been expended absent such funds. Because the civil rights law requires school districts to take appropriate actions to overcome language barriers for English language students, the Title III Part A funds may not be used to fund the activities chosen to implement and districts or schools civil right obligations. Most of the activities or the requirements that we talk about today are requirements of civil rights. So there's no exception of us to not do it. And the funds we receive, and I'll go in detail about the funding. Until 2013-14, the amount we got was $5,000. And I spend every dime of that funds for professional development. I send out an email to schools with ESOL kids, schools with non-ESOL kids, and send an email that, hey, do you want to attend this training? And we use 100% of that funds for professional development. Last year we received around $17,000, and we used every single dollar, and some of it is carry over for this year, but every dollar for professional development that we send it, we bring teachers come to Columbia for training, teachers go out to other states, to the beach for the national state Title III conference. So we do a lot of professional development, and schools that have sent 2 teachers, 3 teachers, and they all have enjoyed it. Some teachers have done wonderful courses throughout the past 3 years. So we have done some good things with the funds we get. But if you have any innovative ideas that you want to run through me, just call me and we can talk. But mostly because we have the school district is growing and we have multiple schools added each year, we just want to, the funding doesn't increase rapidly, so I'm trying to use most of the funds for professional development to send teachers to high quality professional development. But if you have any new ideas, kindly call and share with me. The first week of school, and I'll go through each item of the checklist, and if you as you could see, I'm just reading from here, but I'll try to not to read everything from here and give you some points from that I took here, that I have here. Enrollment guidelines. 2 years ago or 3 years ago, I sent out a memo that talks about enrollment guidelines. What are the documents required when a child walks into your school? What happens if the child doesn't have any documents? What happens if a child doesn't have a social security? What happens if the child doesn't have a date of birth? There is an should we ask for a social security? Should we ask for an address for the child? So there's so much information that happens during the enrollment process, and to ease things, to make things easier, and to have a guidance with us, we sent out a memorandum out to the schools to share it with the guidance counselors. Title 3, and I'm not talking about Title 3 in specific. It talks about homeless, it talks about migrant students. So the guidance, both if you could see, the resources are here. The date when this should happen, the compliance item, this is the compliance item we are talking about, what needs to be submitted, and the notes about what I'm talking about, what this enrollment guides actually means, and these are the resources. The purpose of it is when we come to the audit, or a district audit or a state audit, we have to show them that we all are following the proper enrollment process. So at this point, all you have to do is print this memorandum, review it, and share it with your teachers, enrollment staff, power school people, and document it. If you are sending via email, kindly have a copy of that email in your file, showing that you have shared this information with your staff at your school. And anytime you have any questions about what should I do about enrollment, these two are really good guidance that let you know what's the right thing to do, what document, when should we ask a question, when should we ask for social security, when should we not ask for social security, all the date of birth, proof of date of birth. So kindly use this memorandum and guidance that's up there. uh, Non-discrimination statement. It's we have all Title I schools. I sent an email last week to the monitoring checklist to ask them to put it on the website. But every school should have a non-discrimination statement on their website. You just copy, if you don't, if you want to see the exact language, copy it from the district website. It is also here, and post it on. And please have it on your school's website. Age appropriate classroom, and this is one thing we are struggling, and this is utmost important. uh, just because the child the ESL student that walks into your school cannot speak English or cannot understand the grade level standards, please don't make a judgment to put the class student in a lower grade level. The law requires that student to be in a classroom with these age appropriate peers. Please have them in the classroom and have an accommodation plan, have a plan in place so he can succeed in the classroom. And if you have an individual student question, and call and tell me, hey, how can I do this, I will walk you through it. And we have gone this same situation with the school last year. I met with the parents, I met with the staff, I met with the school leader. We worked with a plan, and the school can attest to it. The child has been progressing so good. They put some process in place. So I will work with you. I will come to your school to make sure, even if it's for one student, we will do it. And we'll come up with a plan and make sure we provide that assistance to the child and the parent, and also provide assistance to the school. But please do not make your judgment to put the child in a lower grade level. The law requires for the child to be in the age appropriate classroom. And the guidance is not coming from Mr. V or Dr. Brazil. It's coming from the U.S. Department of Justice, U.S. Department of Education, Office of Civil Rights. So kindly, please make sure when a child walks into your school, and anytime you have a question, before you make a decision, could you please call us. Teacher-student ratio. It's not in the law, but this is the guidance I put in for you. You need a certified teacher, a highly qualified certified teacher, as a ESOL teacher for your school. At this point, we are not saying it has to be an ESOL highly qualified certified teacher, but it has to be a highly qualified teacher at this point. Preferably, an endorsement will help. and it depends also on the population. That and the more population you have, I think you definitely need an ESL certified teacher. But this is the guidance on the teacher-student ratio. And anytime I have spoken to a couple of school leaders and talking about guidance and talking about what the ratios are. If you have any questions you want to talk to, have a conference with me, give me a call and I'll walk you through the process. Translations, and this is huge. And the feds have audited the State Department 3 years ago, and no one talked about Title III. No one mentioned Title III in the past. But after that federal audit, the federal auditors jumped on the State Department and they said, "Hey, you're taking the funds from us. I don't see progress. I don't see you holding the districts accountable." So the State Department came up with a new Title III coordinator, with a new process, a new evaluation, a new rubric for monitoring visits, and several school districts that I know that I work with, I call for suggestions or guidance. Uh, Most districts are going through it. Like the law says, the the schools must communicate information to the parents of ESOL students in the language they prefer. And there have been court cases in North Carolina where the court ruled that it's a OCR violation that the school did not provide the parents in the language they preferred. And in the past, we used to do it on a Word document, or a school had a process in their enrollment form asking the parents to write that, check what language they want the written communication, what language they want oral communication. But now the State Department has put that in PowerSchool. So it's in PowerSchool now, where you have to indicate what language the parent prefers. So I can run a report and see how many languages do you have to send notifications to the parent by running a report in PowerSchool. So kindly collect that information. In the past, I have sent emails for schools to contact the translation companies, and each school should have a process to send notification and have a person to actually translate something to the parent. And this is a really good document that I have developed here, translation guidance, a clear guidance on what translation means. And this is the guidance from the US Department of Justice, Department of Education, and Office of Civil Rights. However, I'm working on something. Allow me a week to get back to you all. This is important. If you are already working with a company, if you already have this in place, that is fine. But allow me to get back to you with a clear plan for this year. I'm working on something and I have to run some things before I let you all know anything. So I'll get back to you all in a week about clear directions on how the district as a school we have to move forward with oral and written communication. But like I said, this is the law. We cannot let volunteers come to the IEP meetings and translate for us, or any teacher who knows that language we can't do it. The law clearly says it has to be trained professionals. So it has to come through a company. There are several companies that have contacted me, and I am working through a few things to make things easier for you and us. I am not sure of the outcome, but I still want to try. So allow me to work with that company and how fair it is for the district and school relationship, and I'll get back to you all in a week. Home language survey, and I think most school for Title III, this is where everyone stops, is home language survey, and we are done. Like as you have seen, home language survey is not the only thing, but it is the most crucial part of the process. All schools have to complete a home language survey for every child in the building, not just kids that they think are potential English language learners, but they have to do this for every student in the building. And it has to be, if we come to your school and pull out any student permanent folder, we should see a completed home language survey, a signed home language survey by the parent. It cannot be incomplete. It has to be complete. It has to be signed by the parent. And if you have it, and do not collect, in the past we have seen it happen, is do not collect home language survey each year. Well, the first time the student enrolls at your school, collect a home language survey and have do not purge on it. And this year we have an updated home language survey, and you have multiple languages already in it. It is a very, I think we have a really good home language survey. uh, we worked with coordinators across the district, from our schools, and develop this home language survey. So kindly use something similar. If you want, if you have something at your school level, that's fine, but make sure the language speaks the same. So look at this home language survey, and make changes to yours if it's necessary. Enrollment process, this is something we developed this year. This is an enrollment process. It took me a while to develop this, because it's so I try to put every scenario possible, and it's a working document. I'll change it as I go. The home language comes here. The first thing, the process starts with the home language survey. It has to be signed and dated by the parent or the guardian. um, and if all three questions are English on the home language survey, you will code him as a 9. And if one of the question on the home language survey is other than English, this is, you have two scenarios there. You can talk to the parent, you can look at the child, talk to the child, and you look at where he's coming from, what school he's coming from. He's coming from a different country. He just came from Russia. You got them a enrollment form, and you know he just came to the United States and he doesn't speak English. You have no questions, no concerns. Then you go here. The team will decide the student as a potential English language learner, and you will use a screener, the last screener that I explained in the beginning. Use a last screener to see what his English language proficiency is, and you code it. You, based on this course, you will code it in PowerSchool, and you will provide notification to the parent. I'll go in detail every step in the checklist. I'll go in detail, but yeah, you will send parent notification to the parent, letting them know these are the services the child is going to receive. And it also talk about if you have received the records from the previous school, and the home language survey says one of the questions in the home language, one or more questions on the home language says other language than English, and you requested records from the previous school, and the previous school has no records. He was not an ELL student, but still, because it says home language survey has other language, you'll go back here, and if you have a concern, you will go through this process, which I'll explain in a minute. If you did not receive any records from the previous school, you will use a screener, and all the scenarios apply when the home language survey has other language than English. If you receive the records from the school, the student was an ELL student and he was not exited, you will code based on the test score from the previous state English language proficiency testing. You will code the student in PowerSchool and send the parent notification to the parent. But if you have a concern, the concern is, no, he was the home language survey has two different languages, English and two other languages. You are concerned that that is wrong. You know that child came from Bates Middle School and he was in a regular classroom, and your record says the child is speaking fine in English. He had good test scores from the records you obtained from the previous school. You will have an enrollment interview. You will look deeper. You will have a conference with the parent. You will have a meeting with the general ed teachers, ESOL teachers, and talk to the parent and said, hey, based on the data we gathered from the teachers, we did a small test in the classroom. He is doing great. He did not receive services in the past. I see that in the enrollment on the home language survey you gave a different language. Do you mean to say he needs services? You clarify that during the enrollment interview, and there are a set of questions that you can talk during an enrollment interview, which is on the checklist. I'll go in a minute. And if the team decides that the responses on the home language survey are invalid, uh, after considering all the data and from the previous years, checking the records and everything, you will update this home language survey and put that updated upon parent approval, put that back in the student permanent folder of the student. That should be, if the home language says has other languages on the home language survey other than English, and you need to have this meeting before you code the student as a 9. The Title III audit at one of the school district, they didn't have the documentation, so the school was asked to conduct screening for almost 150 kids, more than 150 kids if I'm not wrong, to screen the students because the school has not documented the meeting and it's not available in the permanent folders. And if you have any questions in the process, please call me and I'll walk you through. So that's the enrollment process. Anytime you have any questions about the process, this flowchart should help you navigate where you are and how the process should happen. And if you have any questions, please call us. And this is the enrollment interview I was talking about. The questions are right here, and the flowchart is here again. When you want to dig deeper into the home language survey, please use these questions to have a conversation and dig deeper and make a determination. And if you have questions, call us. Request records, please. This is very essential that you request records from the previous school. I know we talk about 504 plans and IEP plan, but also include any ESOL services received, any accommodations received. Does this child has any taken the state English language assessment? So kindly have these questions on your request to records form when you send the request to the previous school. Last screener, I'll go into to the screener on the website after this. We are done with the checklist. Last screener for the grades second grade to 12th grade, it's online and the district paid for it. The schools can use it. I will in the email I send you later this afternoon, if you confirm your Title III coordinator and reply back to my email and say that is the right person, I will assign a username and password to your Title III coordinator. If you are a school and you serve kindergarten and first grade, that is a paper and pencil test. The school has to order the test material for the school. The link is there for you to order. The school is responsible to do it, so kindly go ahead and order it. These are the product codes for English and Spanish. The schools must assess students in proficiency within 30 days of enrollment. After you open your school the first day, you have 30 days to do the screening, but after that 30 days you only have 10 days for you to screen the students. So kindly use these 30 days to order the material and screen the students and code them properly in PowerSchool. The parent do not have right to refuse a screener, and if you have parents that refuse, please let me know and I'll speak in person to the parents. Parent notification. Once the home language survey is done, once you have done the enrollment interview, you don't have to do the enrollment interview all the time. It has to be done when you want to dig deeper or when you have a concern. But once that's done and once you decide, once the team determines that he's an ESOL student, yeah, and after you're done the screener and everything, you need to notify the parent. You are required by law that you have to notify the parent on the services he receives and other information there. So the parent information letter is right here. Put your school name. I do not have a Spanish form yet. I'm working on it, and once it's done, the link will be here. But you are required to send a parent notification to the parent, letting them know of the way what the scores mean and everything. And it's right, if you're sending through access scores from last year, attach this document to the parent notification. If you identified him as English language learner based on the screener, the scores are here, so kindly use these documents as an attachment when you send it out to the parents. Like I said, it is one of the very important component of the Title III program. So kindly send these notifications, and please document everything in the student folder. Student folder. We do not receive, as of now, we did not receive the annual measure achievement objectives AMAO. The, once we get the parent notification, the law requires us to send notification, must send the parent notifications once the students is enrolled into the ESOL program. And the second is when we fail to meet the Title III annual measurable achievement objectives AMOs. We were not meeting the objectives since past 2 years. This is our third year. The state will let us know in about a month or so about the status. Once I hear from it, I will draft a letter and I'll send it to you all to send it to the parents. So this is a required letter, but this comes from the district, so you can use the district letter to send it out to the parents. Accommodations, like we do for special needs, children with special needs, there are accommodations that we can provide for students of English language learners. The accommodation plan is available here, and it's a very clear accommodation plan. The accommodations are right there, you can just check them off. It's clean, and kindly have it documented and have it available for the general ed teachers for them to use it in the classrooms. So please don't just use the accommodations for state testing. Kindly use these accommodations every day in the classroom so students can meet standards. Student waivers, we hear this all the time. Some parents do not want their students to be students to receive ESOL services. At that point, a parent can waive the services. Waiving the services means the services that is ESOL teacher provides at the school level. The student is not exempt from state testing. The student has to take the state English language proficiency assessment. There is no exempt from it, and if you have parents that complain, they give me the number and I'll talk to them. And the waiver form is right here, both in English and Spanish. Please, the parent have to sign it before you waive any services. Students exit. uh, the, each year I mean each year we have been changing the proficiency level. I will go through the PowerSchool document in a minute, but once the student has exited the program, the ESOL program, we meet the state proficiency, the student is called exit. But even after the student is exited, the students will still be monitored for 2 years. Just it is required by law that you monitor, and it has to be documented monitoring. So once the student is exited, you need to send a letter home saying that the student has exited. So this is the student exit letter, and this is the monitoring I'm talking about. After the student has exited, you have to monitor the student for 2 years, and that has to be coded appropriately in PowerSchool. So once the student exited, we monitor for 2 years, and these are the samples that I shared from Rock Hill and Fort Mill School District. So kindly, I don't want to change the name, or these are pretty decent documents. You can do it monthly, you can do it quarterly, you can do it twice a year, but make sure that that documentation of monitoring is available in the student's permanent folder. And if you see things are not working and if student is not succeeding, you can always screen the student and see where he falls under the placement. Programs for exceptional education students. If you want, this is the most important part of this. It is crucial that the evaluation team makes a distinction between a language difference and a disability. When the student is not able to succeed, is he not succeeding because he has a disability or because he has a language barrier? So that is once you recommend to the special ed team after the interventions are done, and once the school team finally recommends to the special education team, the team has to determine is it because of the language barrier or the child really has a disability, and the guidance comes from the State Department is right here. retention letter. We cannot just retain the students. We cannot just fail the students like we do for other kids. We can, but you have to justify that it's not, language is not the barrier there. So the one new process this year is, if you are going to retain a student, or a student is failing a course, kindly send a letter to me showing me that what the school has done before you have retained that student. So the letter to the district is right here. Kindly use this letter to let us know that what you have done prior returning that student. VIDA standards. VIDA is a consortium group that the state worked last year. The screener, WAPT screener, comes from VIDA. The state contract is done with VIDA screener, WAPT, but we are still using the VIDA standards. I will be conducting regional trainings across the state with schools on VIDA standards. Uh, so that is forthcoming, and I'll keep you posted on it. But we have done the training 2 years ago, last year, and all the presentations and PowerPoints are here, but we will be refreshing. We'll be giving a refresher course to everyone. We will be giving a refresher course to everyone through regional meetings this year. Annual evaluation. This is one of the findings we had in the Title III audit 3 years ago, that we are not annually evaluating our Title III program. It is done through a survey, and the survey link is right here. So kindly at the end of the year I will send you notification, but we use this link to provide evaluate our Title III program as a district, as a school. The Title III PD survey, which you received an email, it comes from the State Department. This data is collected for the feds. So kindly, I'll send a reminder again at the end of the year to complete the survey. This is something new, and I don't think you have to turn them to me at this point. But for your program evaluation, please consider doing a administrator survey to see how the administration is aware of the Title III program at the school. The teachers survey, how the general ed teachers and the ESL teachers are collaborating for the student achievement. Parent survey to see how your program is reached out to the parents. So these are surveys that they are all Word documents. Kindly take these surveys and put them in your ESOL folder at your school for documentation. When we come to audit, it looks really good that we are always evolving, we are always learning. It really helps that we are seeking feedback. High quality professional development. Throughout the year in your staff meetings, if you are a Title III coordinator, the information I share with you, or anytime I get any resources, I'll share it with you. And the trainings that you go, you be the trainer model, go back to your staff meetings, spend time to train them on the information you have learned at your trainings. And any trainings that you do that will impact the entire student body, and also especially your ESOL population, kindly document all that information. Your parent meetings, agendas for your parent meetings, kindly document all those meetings that are very essential. Parent involvement is very essential for any program. So kindly document all the agendas, meetings that you conduct for increasing your parent involvement at your school. And the rest of the document talks about PowerSchool guidance. And I plan to do a in-depth PowerSchool guidance training. I'm working on a document. This is the documentation I received from the state, but I did it last year. I developed a district PowerSchool document, which is much easier, which is very easy to read. So I'm working on it. As hopefully by next week I should send out a PowerSchool coding document. But this is the document I received from the state. And the instruction cohort group and instructional model, these are must, and it is a step-by-step process, and this is the document I have developed last year. It walks you through the screenshots and everything, so kindly cohort group and ESOL instruction model, code them in PowerSchool. The returning students and the new students, the documentation, use this PowerSchool coding document to code students appropriately in PowerSchool. Parent communication fields, as I said, the new language is added into PowerSchool for you to enter the language that the parent prefers for oral communication and written communication. The screenshot is available here to show where is it in PowerSchool, so kindly go and code it. The 9GR guidance and the bilingual guidance is available here, and I will do an in-depth PowerSchool training, so our coding is good and our reports are good when the State Department comes for audit. So I will be doing an in-depth PowerSchool coding document webinar. So any questions on the monitoring checklist, or and there's two ways you can find this document on the bookshelf. You can download it as a PDF version, the same PDF. You can download it and you can get it as a PDF, and you can also have a web version of it. The web version has some issues, but when I say issues, the format is different, but it's right here. Every link is right here. You can just click the link and get the documentation rather than going to a downloaded PDF, but it's right here. So please share with me any feedback. That webinar that we do now will be posted here, like I said initially, will be posted here. Please watch the webinar and take the attendance survey. I'll briefly go over the why we do this in a minute. All the programs we don't get funding. Why do we have to do all this? Like I said, it's the law. There's nothing we can do. We have to do it for the children and the parents because it's the law. It's part of Title 1 Part A and Title 3 Part A to ensure that all children have fair, equal, and significant opportunity to obtain a high quality education and reach at a minimum proficiency on challenging state academic achievement standards and state academic assessments. I mean, the law is very clear. Title 6 talks about the Civil Rights Act of 1964, discrimination on the basis of race, color, national origin in programs and activities that receive federal financial assistance. If it requires state educational agencies and school districts to take actions to overcome language barriers that impede English language learners. I can go on and on and on. We talked about parent notification in the memorandum that was sent in 1970. It clearly says adequate may have to be provided in the language other than English. The parent notifications may have to be provided in the language other than English. There were several court rulings, and this year, the Wake County Public School System, they failed to provide notifications in the language that the parents preferred, and it was considered as a civil rights violation. And as you could see, it's a Title 6 complaint against the North Carolina school. So anything we are doing, it's not that I sat here and tried to make things up for you. It comes straight from the law, and Title 3 has changed. It's not the same program it was few years ago. The system, there's more focus, and you heard me say this all the time. I can deal with 10 Title 1 projects, but Title 3 project is the toughest program I work with. It wants me to be in your classrooms. It expects me to be in the school. So there's so much that this is not a traditional school district. So things that a traditional coordinator does, I don't get the luxury to do it. It falls back on the school Title 3 coordinators, and what you do makes a big difference. So I'm here for this assistance, providing guidance and providing resources, and I try to do a better job than I used to do. And I'm learning too with you all. It's been rapidly changing. The past last year was totally different than what it was 2 years ago, and this year it will be totally different. And next year, because we will be getting a new screener and a new state assessment, it will be totally different. So we are it's changing rapidly, and I'm trying to catch up with things and trying to provide you as soon as I can. I failed to provide this presentation a week ago. I should have, because of so many changes, and I'm trying to be perfect. I could not. I apologize because I believe I should have sent this to you all last week. I regret not doing that. Uh, and again, talking about the Title III funding again, I wish we could get more funding, but we don't. Like I said, the Title III funding must be used to supplement other federal, state, and local funding. And I apologize, someone is moving upstairs. And these funds may not used to fund the activities chosen to implement a school's civil rights obligations. So just to serve an English language learner is required by civil rights, and you have to provide those services. And documentation comes with it. So kindly bear with me. I will work with you every day this year. I will have monthly or quarterly meetings. I'll have regional meetings. I will do a better job of providing more clear assistance and easy documentation methods. I'm working with our IT to have a simple process where I can collect documentation rather than multiple emails and surveys. Allow me to show on the bookshelf, if you could see. I apologize. Someone is moving upstairs. Under the federal programs, all these programs come under me. And if you are a person at the school level who is dealing with all this program, this is where you come on the home page. This is on the home page, and if you go to Title III, you will see all the policies, procedures, webinars. But if you go to the due dates, you will be able to see. I will do a better job of putting all the due dates here, so you can take, you don't have to go through multiple emails or call me trying to reach where it is. Everything that is required, the resources will be here, and the due dates will be here to make things easier. We will try to make, I'll try to find more innovative ways to make things easier for both you and me. I hope you all have a great school year. As I promised, I am working on the last screener webinar. We'll have a Power School webinar. If I can't do a webinar, I'll try to create a cheat sheets by step-by-step process on how to do things. I have done it last year. I'll do them again this year. Hope you. If you have any questions, please call me, email me, and I'll work with you to make things easier or answer any questions. And if I don't have an answer, I will reach out to people to get those answers for you. I hope you all have a great school year. Thank you.